Gee, and it's only been, what, 2 weeks?
Hey.
2 weeks since we were last live?
At least.
At least?
At least.
At least. Well, here we are. Welcome back. It's TGIF. There's no snowstorm. Just a little bit of rain. The weather outside is nice. The UFOs are not landing yet. That's going to happen sometime shortly thereafter. We have a full house tonight, folks. We have 3 guests. Movie director Mark Trivella, comic book collector and authority Jonathan Ross, and guitarist Jon D'Angelo. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back. Where am I? I'm there. I'm
You're
there.
there.
I'm there. Am I going to stay there? Or are we going to play Bounce the Camera? I guess not. My first guest was gracious enough to come and visit us. He is a busy, busy man. He's busier in television than I am right now, let me tell you. Well, if you've been watching Cable 5 religiously, you've probably seen some of his works. He is a director of such movies as Rented House and Second Chances. Won't you please welcome Mr. Mark Trivella?
Nice to finally meet you without any snow outside.
Yes, without any snow outside.
Talk about being preempted by nature.
Yes? Hmm? Yes, you had a question?
Question from our audience.
From our audience, our studio audience. Yes. Welcome.
Thank you. It's nice to be here finally.
Yes, we've talked about this. I said, come on the show, and you said, well, yeah, I'll do that. And
Well, after I said yes, and then we had the huge snowstorm, I figured you didn't want me anymore. Then the second time we had the snowstorm, then the sleet storm.
yeah, but my producer contacted you. Yeah.
Christy, we still have that date for next week. We're still going to call. We're going to keep in touch.
Ah, yes.
She's a nice girl.
Yes, Christy, she's a wonderful person. We're going to drag her out here in front of the camera sometime very soon.
Great.
When she's feeling better, she sort of has a head cold tonight, so we won't force her. Now, how long have you been directing of cable, cable type projects?
The first project we had with Cable 5 was the Rented House, and that was, I think I wrote that in '87. So by the time we got things going and assembled a crew and people and actors, it was '88, '89. So that was actually the first movie project. But I've been involved with Cable 5 close to the 10 years that I've been around here.
I hear a voice in the background going,
Yeah.
10 years?
10 years. 10 years.
A long and wonderful relationship, no doubt, yes.
Growing relationship.
Growing
Really,
relationship.
when we
It is.
started out across the parking lot in the closet, the studio was no larger than this desk area and chairs, and that's what the studio was to begin with. And you edited right across.
I've heard that it was, and
It's all
you
true.
actually had 2 cameras, but you said, we're going to our other studio, when in
And
fact
they
it was
flipped
just,
sides of the
it
room.
was just the other side of the room, yeah. So
The magic of television, and to the credit of Ed's ingenious camera work, it worked out really well.
Now, have you always been behind the camera, or did you get your start in front of the camera as an actor?
No. I was always in plays and theater in high school, then after that in college. And I went to Emerson College in 1984 for my master's degree in communication. Wanting to do something with television. I mean, the whole creative process behind that in assembling, whether it be a story or a crew or to do a project like that. So I didn't start to get involved seriously until about 1984. And then I worked with Channel 4 in Boston for quite a while.
Hey, and what kind of things did you do there?
I started out as an intern with Evening Magazine, and I was an intern there for several months. And then I came back as a freelancer, and I was a production aide, you could call it. And then I ended up being a, did the sets for their special shows, whether it was Christmas or Easter, or Win a Trip to Bermuda contest, or Why Do You Want to Be a Co-Host for an Evening contest, things like that. So I'd help out on special projects. I guess they call me Special Events Coordinator.
That's a good name.
It was fun.
It's a wonderful title.
It was a credit. We would freeze frame it.
Now, typically, as a director, what kinds of things fall under that title? I mean, we see in credits, at the end of every movie, directed by, produced by.
What does this title mean here at Cable 5?
Well, okay, no. First of all,
no, because you have to remember. Well, typically, I would guess it would. There probably is still a range of duties, regardless. I meant by when you're here at Cable 5, because you are your own crew half the time, you do have to do more than what the title would just call for. So by directing, you would have the responsibility of script continuity and directing, of course, the action, and then, of course, directing the talent, and the actors. But then in my several projects that I've done, you would have jurisdiction over what the set looks like, props, costumes, the dialogue, the lights, the food, the gas in the car.
Yeah.
It evolves into other things, but to solely just direct, the luxury of being able to come in with your script, have your actors ready for you, have the crew ready, and say, okay, we're doing this scene today, we have pickups from the next day, whatever, and just do those scenes. That ideally would be nice.
Now, how does the director work with the producer in making something like, assuming, of course, that the director is not also the producer, and
well, it's hand in hand. It definitely has to be hand in hand. Well, on Second Chances, John and I had to have similar ideas of where the movie was going, what kind of ideas the story was going to have, what it was going to look like, sound like, because you're creating the entire atmosphere. You're creating the whole situation. It doesn't exist except for on paper, and then you have to get your actors and you have to dress them, position them, tell them what to say and how to say it, and it's that whole creative process. But him being the producer, or whoever the producer is, that logistically would have to arrange for all that.
Right.
The sets, the crew, the costumes.
Right.
It has to mesh along some line.
Is it typical to storyboard a show?
I did. I found it very
now somebody told me that, and that's why I'm asking this question. So when you go through the process of storyboarding, do you literally just like make little pictures of
well, no, I didn't
how
necessarily make
is going
pictures.
to look, or
I took my script and storyboarded alongside it. I can draw, so if I wanted to have a certain scene angled a certain way, I would just draw it in on the page as I went along. So in that respect, it was storyboarded. I knew what reference I wanted to do. But then also, if we were shooting a scene and something looked better, I would just go with that.
Right.
Especially if you're outside.
Yeah. Now, obviously, these efforts have paid off because you've been the recipient of 2 awards.
Yes, Laurel Awards.
Yes, Laurel Awards, which are wonderful. And we have some clips.
Great.
Actually, we have some clips from the Laurel Award ceremony itself.
Yes, we do.
With you accepting an award or 2. And then I think we have some clips from both your 1990 film Rented House and 1992 Second Chances.
Second Chances.
So if we have those clips ready, I would love to go to one.
Yeah. And the laurel goes to Mark Trivella for Second Chances.
There are no lenses in those glasses, I just want you to know. Second Chances was an awful lot of fun. It's the second movie I've made for Cable 5, and shows what you can do this time when you plan something and you follow through with it. There's a lot more organization in this. We had a good time. Thank you to my very nice table of new friends over here and old friends from the Rented House days. John Ouvray for writing Second Chances and giving me the opportunity to direct his first script for Cable 5. Thank you very much.
And we're back on. Now that was brief. You were very modest. You were very modest and very humble. What did you say?
I don't
now,
remember.
see, the studio audience, not studio, but our TV audience doesn't know this. But we're watching. We have a monitor. We saw. Where am I? There. Where am I? There. Yes, here we are. Yes, we have a monitor. We can see what's going on, but we can't always hear what's going on, so I didn't hear his speech. Did you thank all the little people that made it possible, or
Every darn one of them.
every darn one?
Yeah, because you want them to come back and work for you again for nothing.
Exactly. Now,
Just kidding.
wait. Now, this brings up something I wanted to ask you. How do you go about finding the actors and crew? Do you advertise?
Begged. I begged. No. For Second Chances, it wasn't
There's
as
a lot of talented people in this area.
There are now, and they're much more available and obvious, one in part because of the Warner Theater. It's just drawn them out. A lot of the play groups or theater groups in the area, especially during the Rented House time, there are many talented people in our area. There really are. When I did Rented House, I employed Don Lovely's advice. He's a name that he was in Second Chances. I asked him first off if he could just push me in the right direction, who to ask, who to pitch it to. I did not advertise in the paper for the Rented House, and I personally contacted some options for that first movie, and they very graciously said yes. And hopefully it was a very nice experience for them too, but they were wonderful.
So a lot of people get involved in things such as this really for the experience and for the exposure.
It was, yes. For the first project, it was definitely the experience, the exposure, and the trade back was, I'd make them a star. That's what it was.
And that's all you can ask.
That's all I can ask for.
Now, if we have the clip ready from Rented Houses, maybe we can go to that and take a peek at what that's all about.
We brought one of those too.
You did. Excellent. Excellent.
Not sure. Until we find out something, we're just going to have to spend the night here. Tomorrow morning, I'll try to find something from the Lawtons, okay? Come on, try to have a good night's sleep, all right? Good girl. Look, try to get as much sleep as you can, and I'll try to get something out of the Lawtons tomorrow, okay? Good night. Sarah? Ben?
Yes, Mark did a great job. He was really
Well, we were
very
chatting.
patient.
Yes. Now we were chatting during the clip. I assumed that nothing we said went out over the air because we were cursing deities and having pagan rituals go on. Now, we were talking about the music, among other things, and a little bit of synopsis about what's going on. Now, in that scene, everyone. This was the last night. That
Yeah,
they
that was the
spending in
last night
house?
that they were spending at this haunted mansion, unknowing to them that they rented for a brief time up in Maine.
Right.
And they had just discovered that the house was indeed haunted. Everyone asked me, why did they even stay the night? No, there would be no movie if they left right away. But anyway,
Adventuresome people, right?
they certainly were. Hey, they paid for the house. They were going to
Right,
stay.
exactly.
Mark was a stingy husband in this movie, and he did a great job. But they all stayed for the last night, and then they get spooked one more time, and the show's over. But they all did a marvelous job. But the music you mentioned,
Yes.
the scene like that where it's more action and music than acting. There's no dialogue.
Right.
Joe O'Donnell from West Hartford, who you've mentioned on a previous show,
Right.
associated with the Thompson Opera House. Joe has a studio in West Hartford, and
Right.
Joe and I scripted the music to the movie once the movie was done, and created everything, right down to the door slam. And clock chimes, everything.
And he's got these gizmos. I've seen them.
Oh,
He's-
it's
he just-
marvelous.
He's got this
It's
keyboard.
really
He just like pushes a couple of buttons. All of a sudden, it's like knock at the door, and over here's the doorbell,
right.
and,
Yeah.
and
He could
incredible.
make symphony orchestra sounds. He did the music also for Second Chances, into which we wrote a theme song to for Second Chances that I even sang. Ha!
He did.
Well, what electronics can help you with these days.
Yes, yes, yes. I have
A
benefited from that
voice
myself.
came out of that soundboard. He did a marvelous job. He's very, very talented.
Yeah, he
Good
is.
guy.
He's a real nice guy. Now, we have a clip also from Second Chances.
Yes, we did bring one of those also.
And do we have that ready? Because I'd like to take a peek. Before we go to that clip, tell me a little bit about what
Second Chances?
Yeah, what that movie's
story
about.
synopsis?
Story synopsis. Yes.
Second Chances was a story about a young man coming to terms with the death of his father. who had passed away, of course, and he was seeing a psychiatrist because, you see, he started to see his father. And the twist in the story was that his father actually was there and was able to tell him to get his life together, or he was going to start missing out on all the things that he had been upset with him.
Yeah.
So it had a very nice moral ending to it, and it was a lot of fun. The movies I've done so far each has had dead people in them. I think it's maybe sometime I should do something different, but it was nice. It was fun. The clip we're going to see is where he's coming back to apologize to his wife for just being a rotten husband for a while, and she gets a little emotional and hits him with a frying pan.
Ooh. Little violence.
It's an
okay.
accident.
Yeah.
It was.
I'm home. Hey, I'm home. Janet? Hey, I'm home. Didn't you hear me? Okay. I've been thinking about this, and you're right. I have been immature, and I'm sorry.
Oh, that's the lowest thing you could pull.
What?
Don't you insult me, mister.
I'm not insulting you. I'm apologizing.
You have no right treating me this way.
You're right.
You're selfish, squeamish, and immature.
You're right.
Stop agreeing with me.
Well, you're right.
Don't you try and trick me.
It's no trick. I'm really sorry.
So was General Custer.
Janet, honey, can we at least try and talk this over like reasonable human beings?
I don't want to be reasonable. I want to fight. You hurt me.
I'm sorry.
Oh, stop it. Just hand me those things over there. I do your clothes. I cook your meals. I clean this stupid house. I am a good wife.
Yes, you are.
This doesn't belong here. Oh, Brian. Oh, Brian. Oh, Brian, I'm sorry. It's just that when we get like this, I can't communicate.
We're on. Yes.
Yay.
Yes. Now,
Another fine job.
yes. Now the question that comes to my mind first of all is, was that a Teflon frying pan?
It sure was.
Well, then it's a quality film
And
right
the
there.
funny thing was with that particular scene was we specifically went to get the sound of a frying pan hitting something solid, so we hit a stuffed upholstered chair with it, but we liked the sound of the pan hitting his head so much that that we kept the original sound in there because it sounded more real.
You recorded you just went ahead and used.
Well,
did you
she actually
amplify
hit him with the frying pan during the scene by accident.
Oh my
Every
God.
time.
Doesn't sound like an
To
accident
John's
me.
chagrin. Unfortunately, he was a very good sport. He had a headache the next day, but he's a great actor. You know.
It was very nice. Now, there was some intricate cutting there. Who did the editing work? Did you?
Michael Mangelo. He is also from Hartford. I met him through Cox Cablevision after sending out the rented house and Second Chances. I sent out to cable stations around Connecticut. And Michael, who worked at Cox Cable at that point, was just intrigued that someone at another cable station was doing such a mammoth project as far as cable projects go.
Right.
So we became friends in that respect, and he offered some of his talents to help us edit. And he was accustomed to editing commercials, which are very precise and quick.
Quick, right.
And he had a very keen eye, editing-wise, and he was great. So Michael Mangelo helped us with the editing, and he is also a film producer and director himself, and would like to pursue that too.
That's wonderful.
So we were kindred spirit.
That's wonderful. Now, we only have a couple minutes left, and before we go to the commercial, I want to ask you, what kinds of things are you working on now? I mean, we've seen some of your past work. Do you have any current projects going on right now?
Currently, there are no movies on the horizon, although there's always a script. Always a script.
People come to you with scripts all the time?
Actually, I was very complimented. Some people have.
Yeah.
Gee, I have this script. Would you like to do it with me? And I mean, time is so precious. Even doing those projects when you see them on air, they just take forever to do. But I do a show. I just finished a show with the Torrington Board of Education called Look Who's Learning, and that's all about early childhood programming and the early childhood program here in Torrington. And that will be airing on cable, I think in April.
Okay. Now you also are hosting a show.
Well, I just got that job. That's what you're talking about. Which one? Reelin' Around Your Town?
Reelin' Around Your Town, right.
That show, unfortunately, that show has ended, but that was a show generated from New Milford, Cablevision down there. And it was a very, very good show, very nicely put together. It was a magazine format show similar to what we would know as PM Magazine.
And you know, it's amazing how things like this happen, but we just happen to have a clip of that.
Yeah.
You know, we just happen to have a clip
Who
of that.
would have guessed?
Who would have guessed
Bigger
it?
chances.
But television miracles happen all the time. So can we go to a clip of Reelin' Round Your Town?
Show open.
Ah.
What
There
a
we go.
beautiful day along the banks of the Chippewa River here in Washington at Steep Rock Reservation. Hi, I'm Mark Trivella.
And I'm Pamela Easton. It is a gorgeous place. Not so great, though, for Frisbee.
You don't think so? Maybe I could go stand out in the water and you could toss it to me?
Good idea, Mark. Libby's going to take us to Richter Park in Danbury, where they're having a dog Frisbee contest.
No, I'd like to see that.
Well, watch.
Okay.
Typical show.
Yes. Give yourself a hand.
Yeah, that was a very, very fun show to do.
And you got to talk to all kinds of neat people, and just like I get to do.
Really? No, for a while there, you get to meet everyone that you interview. Of course, has their own story to tell, and
Right.
you cannot help but always have these stories in your head of the people that you've met, and you end up being a lot of fun at parties.
Always the center of attraction there.
Sure.
Now, anything upcoming that you'd like to tell the people about that you're thinking about doing? Or?
Well, the one thing that we're going to be working on here at Cable 5 soon is for the Mental Health Association, and we're going to be doing mental health minutes, little clips of ideas that if something is going on in your life that you need help with, there's a place to find that help, and there'll be 30-second spots here on Cable 5 and perhaps within the Laurel system.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, Mark, I want to thank you for coming on
Thanks
the show.
for having me.
And I hope you come back and we'll
With more stories.
and more clips. Yes. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be back in about a minute and a half, 2 minutes. Okay. Yes. And the crowd roared, and we're back. Yes. My next guest, I've had the pleasure of working with on stage at Clockwork Repertory Theater. He's a very talented actor, but tonight he is here in a different capacity to talk about his other love, which is comic books and the ins and outs of collecting. Won't you please welcome Mr. Jonathan Ross?
Welcome. I think you put a lot of pressure on me, though, at the top of the show, calling me an authority on comic books. Maybe just an informed collector.
Okay, we can go with that. Okay, comic books.
Yes.
They're not just for kids.
No, by far. They're not just for kids. Kids can't afford them these days.
Now, why? Why is this? Is it because, I mean, inflation is
Well, inflation is part...
Reaganomics, is that why? Or?
Yeah, I mean, inflation is definitely part of it. I mean, when I was a kid, I used to be able to get 8 comic books, including tax, for $1. They were 12 cents cover price. These days, a regular comic book goes for $1.25 and up.
Now that's...
And that's not without the gimmicks. I mean, they put in gimmicks these days. They put in the new thing is foil covers, all shiny and classy looking. Hologram type things, multiple covers, and these books are selling in a price range of $3.25 and up.
Now, how long? Now, the comic book as we know it, you know, I mean, just let's say standard, paperback comic book like I bought when I was a kid. How long has that been in existence in that format?
Oh,
and
God.
Were there other kinds of formats before that?
The basic comic book hasn't really changed over the years. In the earlier days, back in the quote golden age of comics, which is back during like World War II, when you first had the appearance of Superman and that sort of thing, the comic book from that time to today is basically the same format. The only thing that's come along in recent years is different formats of printing, higher quality paper, higher quality, thicker cardboard covers, that sort of thing. Otherwise, it's basically the same little comic book you had bought when you were a kid.
I used to buy Richie Rich. I liked that. I liked that
I
one.
think that's basically what we all started with. We all started with that sort of thing. Richie Rich and Archie Comics and Dennis the Menace and Casper. I think that's basically what everybody starts with, and then gradually you move on to Superman and Batman and Spider-Man and the superheroes, which dominate the market these days.
I was going to say, now bring me up to date, because I haven't opened a comic book in a long time, and I really need to, because I would learn how to read again. But, like, who are the popular characters?
Well, these days, you have the two major companies. You have DC and you have Marvel. In DC, you have Superman and you have Batman and Wonder Woman. These are the characters that dominate them. And then Marvel Comics, you have Spider-Man, the Fantastic Four, the Hulk, Silver Surfer, that sort of character.
Okay. Now, is this something that's been a love for you, like, since you were a kid and it just grew, or did you, like, sometime later in your life decide this is, you know, something you wanted to devote some time to?
No, basically it started out as something to do as a kid. I mean, you did your chores around the house and you earned your allowance and you went out and bought the comic books. The thing that kept me going with comic books was, number one, Mom goes with the little, you know, parent-teacher meeting and stuff like that that's called for and all the time. And my kid reads an awful lot of comic books. Is that bad? What should I do about it? You know, luckily the teacher said, look, he's reading, leave him alone, that's all that's important. You know, and like I said, with the hard-earned allowance, doing all the chores, I kept my comic books in good shape. And that was basically it. I would pack them away in a little box and all that and kept them in good condition. Then years later down the road, hey, I found out these things are worth money.
And then you decided to open a store.
Well, I did. I did for 2 years. I had a store in Naugatuck called Fantasy Island, which, you know, was a brief dalliance into turning a hobby into a profession, as it were. But unfortunately, the store started taking up more of my time than I had wanted it to, and so I ended up selling it ultimately.
But while you were doing it, what kinds of things were you ordering? I mean, what did you look for? What were people asking you for?
Well, basically, like I say, the popular two comic companies, DC and Marvel, which dominate the market, is what most people were interested in. There was some interest in the independent comics, such things as Warp Graphics, which their predominant book was ElfQuest, and one of the books that has blossomed from the independents is, of course, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Who? What is that?
Now,
what is that?
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, yes. People don't realize this. That started out as a joke. It was never meant to be taken seriously.
I read that.
Yes.
I read that some guys sat around and said, let's think of the most ridiculous,
exactly.
obscure
Basically what it was,
excuse.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, at the time that they were created, the three most popular comic books around were the X-Men, which was a group of superpowered mutants, Daredevil, which was very much into a ninja storyline, and over in the DC comic group, they had the Teen Titans, which was a teenage superhero group. So hence you had the Teenage Mutant Ninja, and then for the joke they made them turtles.
Oh my gosh.
It was all meant as a joke.
And look what happened.
Yes,
now
multi-million dollar industry
now there are
out of it.
T-shirts which say Teenage Mutant Ninja Parent because they have to put up with all this stuff.
Exactly, exactly.
Now, John, what distinguishes a collectible comic book from just something that ought to be thrown in the trash to begin with?
Well, that's examples of what I've brought here today. We have this, which is Fantastic Four #1.
Let's get a close-up.
Get a close-up of this.
Look at the price on that book.
Yeah, yes. 10 cents. 10 cents back in 1963 when you bought it. These days, this book here, even although this condition is not mint, this book would go for about $2,000. If it were mint, it would probably go $5,000 to $7,000 for this book.
We do have security guards around the studio at this time. We knew you were bringing the book.
Yes, yes. This sort of thing will always have value. Always. The old books, the collectibles, first appearance, first origin of the Fantastic Four, this will always have value. Books these days that will not have value, here it is, the infamous
Hold it up there.
Yes.
Yeah, get a close-up.
Get a close-up of it. This is the infamous death of Superman. It's all hype. Superman, I believe they had an article in one of the journals on comic books recently. Superman has died at least a dozen times.
I thought he only died twice.
No, he's died at least he's died at least a dozen times in comic books. And there was just so much publicity and hype about this death of Superman with this long drawn-out story. It's worthless. It really is. I had them reserve this copy for me at the comic book store just for ha-has. I wanted to read it.
Yeah.
It's a cover price of $1.25. Now, you get a bagged version of it, which then sold for, with this nice little red dripping blood Superman logo. This sold for $2.50. And in it you got such niceties as your morning armband to mourn the death of Superman.
Oh my God.
You got a trading card for the death of Superman. And you got a bunch of stickers for the death of Superman. All this in a bagged thing for $2.50. Now, I picked it up a couple weeks after it came out. Already the collector's price on this, because there was such a demand for them, was about $15. I think it peaked at about $40. If you've got them, sell them fast, because they're going to be worthless in a couple more weeks. Superman is already coming back. In fact, so they're bringing back 4 different Supermen to take over the Superman character. He's coming back. They're alluding to who is the real Superman and all that. Anything that they come out with these days that they say is a collector's item, forget it. It's not a collector's item. There were millions of these upside down, doesn't matter. There were millions of this book printed. It's worthless. It'll never be. And plus, on top of that, I bought it, I had them reserve it for me just so I could read the story. It's an awful story. Awful, awful. The artwork's not that bad, but it's just one long slugfest. There's no story to it whatsoever. It's worthless.
A thumbs down.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely Siskel and Ebert, thumbs down.
Yes.
Definitely Siskel and Ebert's thumbs down. This sort of thing will never be worth money because there are so many. Anything, you know, the hype is there.
Yeah.
They printed millions of copies of them. It won't be worth money. The collectors, they socked away, 10 and 20 copies of this in their little collector's vaults and stuff like that. If you've got them, sell them quick. Because like I say, in a couple more weeks, the demand is already going down. I looked in one journal that listed it, I think at a peak of like $40. The new, this is Comic Buyer's Weekly or something like that, I forget the exact title, it now had a value of $20 with a little minus in it after it saying it's going down even more in value.
Okay. Now, let's take books other than, hyped things like Superman. How do you grade the condition? I mean, like when a collector, if someone comes to you, let's say, you're looking to perhaps buy something that you perceive to be of value, and they bring it to you, how do you evaluate it? How do you grade the quality or the condition of a comic book? What's the system that's used?
Okay, there's a number of things you go by. You go by the general, like this, just to give you another example, Fantastic Four #2. This is in better condition than the Fantastic Four #1 that I showed you before. Reason why, I don't think it'll show up on camera. Maybe it will. You can see it yourself. The spine is not as tight. This was taped because it's an older book. It's not in as good condition. The cover luster, now you're seeing it very shiny on camera. That's because these are in protective Mylar bags. But what it is how the spine is one thing you always look at, whether it's worn, whether it's torn, how tight it is along the staples, signs of wear along the edge, whether there is flaking and flecks, little pieces of the cover may be missing. Also, if you look inside, the luster of the whiteness of the pages, if they've turned yellow with age or something like that. All these things. In fact, what Overstreet, which is the comic book guide that's generally used in the industry, has come out with this past year is they've come out with the Overstreet grading guide. It's a regular paperback book. You can get it in any bookstore. It gives you an excellent explanation with examples how to judge and grade your book so you will know authoritatively whether it's mint, near mint, fine, good, poor, or throw it in the trash.
Okay. Now, we have just about a minute or so left. What kind of advice would you give to people who are into collecting comic books as far as the care, the storage, things to avoid, just some basic things?
Well, the first thing I would say to anybody is buy what you like to read. That's the main reason why I got into it. The enjoyment of the stories, the characters, the artwork. This is the thing that even when I had this store, people would say, what can I buy? What is going to be worth? What should I collect? And I would say, read the books, find something you like, and buy that. That's what's truly going to have value to you. I mean, if you're looking for it as an investment, then you got to be like a stockbroker. You got to watch the market, look for what's value. Like I said, like with the Super Band here, you had to hit it at its peak, sell out everything you've got to get your return investment on it, because like stocks, it's going to go down in value. But like I say, buy a book that you like, the characters you enjoy, the stories that you enjoy. This is the thing to do. And as far as condition, when you're reading the book, don't do like some people do. They open it up and they do oh God, it would make my skin crawl. When they read a comic book, they would take it, open it up, and as they're reading, curl back the cover. Don't ever do that with a comic book.
Oh, that's a no-no.
Yes, that will destroy the condition. If you're going to read a book, you hold it flat and read it. Keep the books in good condition. Store them flat, store them in a dry place. That's the best thing, and bag them as well. That'll keep them in good condition.
I want to thank you for coming on. You've enlightened me, because I know nothing about comic books. Will you come back sometime and talk about, like really weird things about, comic books? And you also are an expert on Star Trek.
Yes, also an expert on Star
Yes. So we will have a Trekking
Yes,
show.
I'll bring your Enterprise and stuff like that as well. Yes.
John, thank you for coming on the show. Hope to see you back soon.
I hope so,
We're going to
too.
take a quick commercial break. We'll be back with our next guest, Jon D'Angelo. Yes, we're back. We're back. And we're all the way live. My next guest is an accomplished musician. He normally plays with an ensemble of other musicians, but tonight he's going to entertain us as a solo performer, performing a piece that I understand he wrote just for tonight's show. Won't you please welcome Mr. Jon D'Angelo? John, wonderful, wonderful. Come on over.
Dump it.
Put the guitar down.
Stage hands.
Come have a seat.
Welcome. Welcome. Good, good. Have a seat. Now, what was the name of that song? Yes, we have to hook you up.
Yes, mic him up. Mic yourself up, otherwise the audience won't hear a thing.
There.
There you go.
Okay. We just have enough time for you to tell me the name of the song. Then we're going to take a quickie break. Then we're going to come back and talk some more. What was the name of that piece?
Sunset.
Sunset.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful, beautiful song.
Thanks.
Beautiful. Does it have words to go with it?
No.
Not yet?
All instrumentals.
All instrumental. Okay. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with Jon D'Angelo. All right. Yeah! Hey, we're back. It's all spontaneous. It's not done with mirrors. It's all spontaneous. It is. Now, we can talk. We can talk. How long have you been playing the guitar?
So 14. About 14.
Since you were 14?
Yeah.
How old are you now?
20.
You're so old. Gee. And I thought I was old. My gosh.
Comic books are
Yeah, no.
Yes, they are. The books are older
The
than
comic
he is.
books
Yes.
are older than
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Now, what kind of other music influences you? Where do you draw your inspiration from when you write pieces like that and play?
Well, Van Halen, one of my best influences, I guess. But
Now, when I think
you
of
don't
Van
hear
Halen,
that in
I was
the
going to say,
song.
when I think of Van Halen, I don't think of somebody that mellow.
No. That's, I guess, Wes Montgomery, Eric Johnson, a lot of those players I like. So.
So very now is that the style that you tend to play, the more laid back?
I guess when I'm alone, I'm usually not alone when I'm playing, but when I'm playing with my band and stuff, it's more fusion. Call it gate fusion music, and that's a little heavier. You know, it's more like a little Van Halen kind of Steve Vai. Well, Chick Corea, if you ever listen to Chick Corea.
Right.
Jazz.
Now you've done a demo with this band.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I understand we have it programmed into the computer. So that
well, just the address.
Yeah, so that people can find out how to get a hold of the demo,
Right.
so they can listen to more of your music. Do we have that? Can we put that on the screen? Yes. Yes. No.
No.
No. I see lights blinking up there.
He has the address.
Yes. I see.
He's typing?
Yes, he's typing it up. He's getting ready to pull it up. Screen's going blank. Where is it? Come on.
Give the address.
Well, anyway, while he's pulling that up, okay, do you only play original pieces, or do you play covers of
For
other
the most
people's?
part, yeah. When I'm playing, I used to play in a blues rock band when we did covers of Allman Brothers songs, Leonard Skinner, stuff like that.
Freebird?
Yeah, stuff like that.
Well, that's a classic. No, that's a classic. I was in a band in college, and I
Everyone
played
does it.
keyboards, and we played Freebird, and it was like, the 15-minute jam session. And
Yeah, oh,
everyone,
yeah.
It's at the end of the night when you're trying to throw everyone out of the bar, and you're all doing, Freebird, and you can just keep playing as long as you want, but it's a great song.
Yep.
Do we have the information? We don't have it, so you're going to have to tell the
Okay.
audience. Look, smile into the camera.
I guess you could write. Do you want me to give the address?
Yes,
or the
please
number?
do. By all
Address.
means.
Just send it to me, Jon D'Angelo, 23 Wellington Avenue. It's WELLINGTON, Waterbury, Connecticut.
Zip code?
06708.
Is there a phone
It's
number?
important for the zip code.
Is there a phone
no,
number?
that would be.
No phone number.
No,
much, John?
No, just yes. 550. That'll handle like the copy fees and sending it out to you, stuff like that. So.
Now, in the fast-paced world of television, sometimes we have to jump out of our chair, and that's what you got to do, because we want to hear another song before we go. Would you do that for
Can
us?
we go over there now? Or?
Yeah, why don't you? And we're going to roll the credits, and you're going to wrap up
Take
the
off
show
the mic
for us.
first.
Let's get your mic.
Get the mic.
Yeah, let's get your mic. Here, I'll take that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, get yourself set up there.
This is not Memorex. This is live.
This is live. See, as you can see, because my head's like bobbing. Now, the name of this piece is Soft Simplicity. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Plug in there.
Plugged in. All set. You just let me know.
Okay.
Okay. Soft Simplicity. Jon D'Angelo.
Yeah.